I think AI is the evolution of process optimization.
All right, welcome back everybody to another episode of the Brainiac Blueprint, where we discuss the intersection of AI and how it impacts business and the world around us with our esteemed guests. I'm Kyle Lambert, founder of Left Brain AI and Action Hero Marketing. In today's episode, we're going to discuss the process for automating using AI in business and in specifically higher education. With that being said, today's Brainiac is Renaldo Edmondson. Welcome to the show, Renaldo.
Thanks for having me, Carl. You didn't stutter. That's a great intro. I love intros where people just don't stutter. Boom, 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 all clean. Yeah, thanks for having me, my friend.
I don't know if you believe this. I still have it written down so I can kind of read it and reference it without stumbling too much. So I appreciate that.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Awesome. So Renaldo, you are so first off, we obviously worked together 5 years ago or so.
We did.
When I was the director of marketing at a higher education agency. You were like our Facebook guru, kind of helped us out with some different strategies and things. And lots happened since then. We've reconnected, and I think there's a lot to talk about. So I'm excited for our conversation here.
Definitely. I was the weirdly welcome consultant. I don't think there's ever a consultant that's welcome, but yeah, you guys made me feel so welcome. I kind of felt part of the furniture, and it was an interesting run. We had some really good breakthroughs at a really exciting, interesting time in the world of Facebook. So it was fun. It was really fun.
I agree.
Yeah.
A lot of good testing and things like that. So
Definitely.
Well, awesome. So Renaldo, you are the director of integrated marketing strategy. That's your title at Bisk. Can you tell everybody a little bit more about, who you are, what you do at Bisk, all of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, of course. So essentially, I'm a consultant at Bisk, right? I'm a consultant lead, sort of operating a lead role via a remote position to really lead the Bisk marketing team with sort of strategic ways of how to operate efficiently in this modern age, in this modern environment where things are changing so rapidly. You had the big, Carl, you from Archer, you had the big behemoth Pearsons, the Wileys. Many of these companies moved away from the OPM model, an online program management model for your listeners, which is really going in and selling degrees and certificates and building them for a lot of these universities. And, many universities, they don't have marketing teams. So they come to these OPM agencies to say, hey, can you do the build of a degree, put us online, and can you market the degree? Bisk is the oldest company of that sort. I think they're one of the pioneers. I think they even changed some of like the laws and stuff in the game because they were killing it so much at the time.
Oh, wow.
But Nathan,
you're doing something right when laws have to be made for you.
That's right. So Nathan Bisk was really the originator of that, and since then things have changed a lot. Like, where it was easy or a lot less expensive to buy leads on Google Ads, and now you'd be lucky if you get degree leads at $150, $140, $120 a pop. That can be a 9% click-through rate and a high quality score for those people who are ninjas in sort of ads. So you start realizing that you have to be very creative. And my job at Bisk is to try and figure out how do I make us as creative as possible, of which the segue really is in AI. And that's where the kind of difference maker is, and how we are using and finding ways to use AI and put people who do good things already in the seat of a Ferrari so they can do it faster and better. I think it's probably a long-winded description of what I kind of do at Bisk.
I love that. Obviously, I'm a marketer, so all of that hits right at home with me, being able to be creative, like you mentioned, to come up with some new ideas, maybe do some research that can spark some things. And then, of course, one of the things that I've been loving about it is just having iterations of ad text that I could just cycle in and out, kind of train up a GPT or something like that. And then it gives me a bunch of options like, okay, yes, no. Let's get these in like weekly, whatever it is. It's really super powered my testing. It's very, very cool.
Big time. And I think it's exciting because finally we can market properly. Like the biggest
Yes.
problem in an agency is that if you try and achieve scale, if you're trying to achieve scale, it's very difficult to achieve sustainability. To achieve sustainability, you usually have to kind of half step or hedge or take shortcuts just because you can't do the best thing for all of the different clients that you want to do
Yep.
it for. If you're really good, if you're decent at systems now and you approach this in a systematic way, you can train, to your point, train a custom GPT. That'll be a writer. Another one may be your planner. Another one may be sort of your image creator. And you can kind of standardize a sequence of activities that you do for every single client that you represent. And you can kind of get the larger output of things out in the market quickly, get
Yep.
all of your feedback, and actually start then just managing and just adding bits and bits and bits. So it's almost like we can actually start marketing properly now. If rather than having to onboard so much staff and work with so many consultants and bring so many different philosophies in and have so many different skill levels. The skill level's consistent, everything's consistent, the robots don't make mistakes. So it's an exciting time, really exciting time.
It is. It is. And, one of the things that has always been super powerful about digital marketing is the data that's available. So, to your point, to really being able to manage and be able to say, whether it's an incremental change that this led to, 1% increase in click-through rate, or, it's a larger strategic shift that halved your CPL or something like that. It really does, like you said, allow you to kind of manage appropriately, kind of mitigate that battle of volume and efficiency sometimes and everything, and and really just get some good returns. It's been a fun revelation for me. Yeah.
Yeah, and marketing is testing, you
Yeah.
know. And I think we all get away from that. We get away from it in the sense that I tell my team all the time, like you should be even keel all the way. If you get the outcome that you want, you shouldn't be your emotion shouldn't be up nor down. If you don't get the outcome that you want, your emotion shouldn't be up nor down, because the only guarantee we have in marketing is intelligence. And I
Yeah.
think if we have an approach where we actually are going to get as much intelligence as possible, if the intelligence is favorable, we just learn ways to do it again to get a more favorable outcome. If it's unfavorable, you try and move away from the unfavorable things towards favorability. And I think we're now in that space where we can do that so much better,
Mhm.
because we have all of these kind of engines and operational infrastructure to do it more effectively.
Got to stay dead inside, just like those robots.
Yep. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Amazing. So Ronaldo, before we can go completely down this marketing rabbit hole, but as you know, I do like to have all of my guests finish the prompt I think AI is. So if you could set that stage for us, we'll be able to jump in from there.
I think AI is the evolution of process optimization.
Very cool. Can you expand on that?
Of course. So I think people will turn around and say, "Oh, we need to automate," or "Automation is everything," or "This is about automation." No, I think automation is the progression of good process optimization. I think people are oftentimes asking the wrong question, and that's why a lot of people kind of get their bubble burst when they think they can go into AI and it's going to just solve everything. I think the mechanism I would try and establish with this is essentially you're looking at a function of a business. What's the function? What's the purpose of the function of the business? So your marketing team, what's the function of your marketing team? Oh, we do demand gen. That's what we do. We try and generate demand. We try and capture that demand, and we try and nurture it, and we hand it off to a sales team. Great. So if anybody came in tomorrow and they said, "Hey, what do you do in marketing?" Oh, we do demand gen. There's enough of an understanding around just those basic pillars that a person would know what to do. So there is a purpose in the function. The next thing then becomes, well, what processes are you applying for you to do demand gen well? Oh, so to generate demand, we use these three channels, and we put these types of creatives, and we have these type of categorical structures with the way we approach it. Brilliant. So now you've got your process. What are you able to automate in your processes? So automate being if then else, not adding an AI agent or anything like this. What are consistent routines that if, for example, a price in an ad auction gets too high or a lead cost gets too high, what kind of automation do you do to switch off that campaign? Do you automatically switch it off using rules? Do you manually go and do that? Like, how well optimized are you in automation? And then once you've done that and you do that well, hey, we send emails out and this automated email goes out, then. Now you look at, can you now add an agent who does the automation for you? So the agent comes in and actually does the thinking part of the automation. Yes, the automation is send email 1, 2, and 3. The agent is going to choose what to write. The agent is going to choose the time to send it. The agent is going to choose the time of day to the type of reply to do. The agent is going to choose what information they want to pass to you as far as intelligence about whether this worked or didn't work. And I think that's really what AI is to me. I think AI really is the evolution of strong process optimization. And I think if you've got a pre-existing process that's solid, AI is going to turn it in, is going to put it on steroids.
I told you this when we first connected, but when we had our kind of alignment call about this, I got so excited about your perspective there, because for a little bit there, I would go online and I would see someone posting this 200 node process, and it's like, respond here and I'll give you the whole thing. And the amount of shares and likes and all this kind of stuff, I was like, do these people think that you could just plug and play and like it's done? Like it drives me crazy seeing this. And some of that is obviously clickbaity and trying to kind of get people in, but I love that you just take this step-by-step approach. It's like, let me figure out my process sans AI. What is it that I normally do? And then now where can I put in the right tools and optimize and things like that. So that is 100%, in my opinion, the right way to approach it. So I wanted to dive into that a little bit. Can you provide a tangible example? Maybe it's for marketing, or maybe it's a review process, whatever it is that you guys have in place. And it doesn't have to be 100% automation, just where it's like, hey, we have this opportunity, we put it in, or we're testing it, or whatever it may be.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, there's a few. I think one right off the bat would really be, it'd be something called campaign planning, right? I think it's a thing that gets overlooked because we never have the luxury of time to do it in the world of marketing. Sorry, listeners, if you're not marketers, but yeah, I try to use analogies as best possible to simplify. Okay, so I think if you look at any cycle, in any marketing cycle is really like a presidential campaign. It kind of works the same way. The candidate chooses a segment of people who he wants to say something to, or she wants to say something to get them to believe something or to see if this thing resonates, right? That's really the plan piece, which will be your step number one. They're then going to go and they're going to campaign on that trail. They're going to go. They're going to build all of the show, all of the audience, and they're going to promote it. They're going to do whatever they do, but they're going to build essentially that show, that delivery. That's really number two, which is to build the delivery of the campaign that's got to take place and that's going to project that message. The third one then is really going to look at, okay, did it work or did it not work? They're going to kind of analyze, hey, it resonated with these people, didn't work with these people at all. And then they're probably going to stay inside of that environment and then say so, and then have another day of another presentation or another day of another audience where they're going to be on stage and deliver whatever speech. And then they're going to take all that learning and they're going to take an understanding and say, what did we learn about the people in this area here? What resonated? What didn't resonate? And then they're going to go and move to another location on their campaign trail, and it becomes a cycle of a 4-step cycle.
Yep.
Most of the time for us marketers, we'll just do the build. We jump in, we build something, and we kind of build and just address a roundabout audience of who it may be for, but we don't establish necessarily always who it should be for. Now, campaign planning is a really interesting thing because you can now turn that into an automated routine by using an AI agent. So what I essentially am working on fully automating, but I kind of have in place at the moment, is I have a custom GPT. We're going to go and build a campaign. I'll say, hey, chat, right, give me a campaign for a healthcare management degree for X university. It will write the entire campaign plan, following all of the parameters that we've already established. Now you got your campaign plan. You know who you're speaking to, you know what you're trying to say, you know why you're trying to say it, you know what segments you're trying to reach out to. All of these different things are now there. So now that just gets passed automatically to your media team, or your paid media team, and your asset builders, who are going to go and build the assets for that campaign. They go build the assets, that gets out, they put that into market. You measure and optimize and remove what's working, and keep what's working, remove what's not working. And then you have your business intelligence inside of dashboards to show what worked and what didn't work, which informs then another campaign where you can now take those visualizations and take all of those insights, put it into your custom GPT and say, hey, this is what we learned, right? Can you produce another campaign to a different segment with that learning? And now you can produce a new plan, and your team can go and execute that. I'm trying to turn that now into a fully agentic model, though. So what you essentially should be able to do is, each campaign you create should carry some kind of label inside of one of the channels that you're marketing the campaign on. So every campaign really has a name, but it also has some kind of ID. You're making sure the ID of the campaign plan lives inside of the ad campaign name on these channels. And so you now can track how the campaigns are doing. And now the agent itself analyzes the data and says, hey, this one's working well. Hey, campaign writer, write this campaign because write a campaign that says this based on this learning, and it will produce itself the entire campaign plan. And so then when we then go and initiate that campaign plan, all we need to do is use the campaign ID inside of our ad campaigns. And then the same system will keep cycling, just analyzing how are the campaigns doing, and then produce new campaigns for the different clients we serve. For a company like ours, Kyle, in a modern world where we need to be more nimble, a big part of this is making sure we can scale and work with tons of clients. We can't work with tons of clients if we haven't thrown too many human beings at the process. So being able to do these kinds of things using AI agents and using an AI agentic framework, and I'm using LangGraph to be able to do this. It makes it very interesting, a very exciting.
That is very exciting. You kind of read my mind there. I was going to ask, how many have you tested different agents, and what was the one that you said you're using now?
Yes, I'm using LangGraph. It's weird. Okay. I'm coding it. I code it with Windsurf, so I'll use Claude Sonnet 4.0, actually 4.5 now, using Windsurf. I'll take that. I've established a core framework, which I call All Day, which is orchestrate, remember, decide, action, and something else. And those essentially are 5 independent agents. So one will observe. One will retry. They'll take the observation, give it to the one that needs to remember and record the information, then pass it to the one that needs to decide what to do, which will be the orchestration agent kind of thing, and then give it to the agent that's going to take an action, and then give it to the other agent that's going to deploy. Right. So I've tried to use a vibe coding application to build AI agents rather than just taking something off the shelf, which is a very interesting project, because and I know you're always trying to look for uncopyable advantages. And I think the problem of taking stuff off the shelf at the moment is it's just a copyable advantage. Somebody else is going to take something else off the shelf. Naturally, we're always cutting edge. We tend to be first movers, but as a first mover, you're trying to be such a first mover that no one can catch up. So I'm like, hey, if I can do this with actually having my own developer assistant and making sure it does all the code, like I don't write any code, and I can prompt it well enough to do that and understand various different insights to give, and I can build an agent from it, then that sets the tone and the stage for all of the different types of applications we should be able to build. But yeah, long-winded answer of saying I'm building it from scratch using a framework called LangGraph.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so you're building it yourself, but using AI and prompts to build it. right?
Had to
So
build it. Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
that's so okay. I love that.
Yeah.
What is your like strategy for crafting an effective prompt,
Right.
and then kind of checking that you got the outcome that you're looking for? Because you know that I've said this a million times on this show and just in
Yeah.
conversations that I've had. If you want to
Yeah.
get into AI, the start with figuring out how to do prompts. That is it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If
Yeah.
if you're not giving the right prompt, if you're searching on it like you do with Google or something like that, you're not going to get the right stuff. So,
Yeah.
if you could tell us your kind of strategy there, that'd be great.
I wish there was an elaborate one. I'll be really honest
Okay.
with you. It's context.
Yeah.
All if you and I just think about it like any smart person that's coming in to solve a problem. What's the thing they usually really do? They just ask questions. Okay, what kind of problem is it you're trying to solve? Like, and you tell them something, they're like, "No, give me okay that part there. Go a little bit deeper." Yeah, well, I'm finding that the refrigerator keeps bzzz and blah blah blah. Yeah, okay. So when it buzzes, what days of the week did it buzz last? Oh, well, it does it on Monday, Tuesday. Okay, Monday, Tuesday, what time? That's what a consultant does. That's what really a great mind does. And AI is just mimicking that. So
Yeah.
I thought, hey, if I just give it enough context and I say it's like this, it's like that, it's like something this, the more context you give, the more accurate the response is always going to be. And I feel that's always worked and it's worked brilliantly. And it kind of made the relationship between myself and prompt engineering very seamless to the point where I've never really had to had to learn prompt engineering structure, and I've
Sure.
always found that I've got exactly what I wanted just because just give context. I think that's just fundamental to communication.
Absolutely. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Okay, so if we take all of that and we marry that to the campaign planning,
Yeah,
automation that you mentioned,
yeah,
you know, you mentioned that it will kind of like see something and then, you know, kind of come up with a new plan and ping the creative team and everything. Is this data based? Is it like, oh, you know, we've achieved a CPL, so let's try to mirror that, or it's like the CPL has died off by X percent, or CTR is out of like, are you basing this on data? Is there, I know when we talked like a lot back in the day, we focused on statistical significance, making sure there was enough,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
impressions and all that kind of stuff. So I'm curious, you know, is it just like every 2 weeks it does this, or are you kind of using some of the data or a little bit of both?
Great question. A bit of both. So it's a great question. I think initially you just want a facility and a tool to be able to write campaigns very quickly when you need to write campaigns,
Fair
i.e.,
enough. Yep.
human in the loop. Then it's like, okay, what happens if I take myself out of the loop? How is it going to interpret what campaigns to create and when? That's all going to be down to us making sure that there is a log of the campaign plans that we have created and they live on one of these advertising channels, of which this application plugs into an API. That API, it will then be able to look at, okay, well, how are the ads doing for the campaign plans that we've written, and for the ads that are doing well, they're left alone, and for the ones that are not necessarily doing that well, maybe new campaigns get written. That's really the kind of modus operandi, right? Where what I want to see and really experiment and understand how does it interpret what to do based on what it analyzes inside of the marketplace, and how much better is it at doing that than us? Because I already know it's faster, so I just want to know that is it better, and does the lead cost go down and the quality remain? Because lead cost can go down, and you know how it goes. The quality can tank, right? So it's a
Yep.
game. Does it know how to manage that game well to be able to provide pipeline that's actually valuable to us in the marketing phase, but then of course the sales team in their phase as well.
Very cool. Very cool. Have you had anything kind of shock you or that's memorable that stands out from like, you know, maybe it's a ad copy strategy that AI came to that you never thought of, or, you know, maybe it started to make an audience work that historically wasn't working. Is there anything like that, like a cool, or even a detriment?
Right.
Like I don't want to sit here and be like AI is the best, you know, just let it go and do its thing. So I'm curious in either direction if there's anything that stands out like that.
Yeah, crazy stories around it. I think a big one, to be honest, in many ways was adoption. Like in the beginning, it was really hush hush. Nobody wanted to know that anyone was using AI and whatever
Of
else. And
course.
hopefully, I don't get in trouble on this call. But yeah, when I back in 22, I think, or maybe it was 23. Back in 23, Chat GPT had came out, and I already saw that, hey, I'm sure you can angle this well enough to be able to write really strong prompts, but in doing so, you're gonna go under the scrutiny because people feel like you're cheating. Because that's how it is when in early adoption with all things, right?
Of course.
And I think it was really shocking that most people were saying at the time, yeah, if you write AI, it's gonna do it can't outdo humans, it can't do this, it can't do that. Kyle, we smoked about 2 or 3 or 4 campaigns just from from AI prompting,
I love
and
it.
many of the team members started to use AI AI methods of writing copy and not needing to go and consult with the copywriting team, which obviously creates an interesting dynamic. But it's like, yeah, I can just kind of go to market. I got my strategy. I can go to market and just put the copy together. I don't need to bother you guys. But people are more like, oh no, bother us. No, because everyone's busy, and it was interesting. So I think those were some of the biggest shocks in the beginning, because I started to realize that, oh shoot, like we can really change the game and get a different kind of level of scale. And I said, these ads will do better than other ones we've written, and those ads did better than others we've written. So yeah, in a university environment where people academically are not huge fans of that, it's a very interesting experience.
That is, and highly regulated industries such as higher education are even more slower to adopt for a variety of reasons. And I also think that this is not supposed to be an insult to these people, but a lot of times when you're working with people in higher education, they're educated, and so they have egos and or believe in themselves, and so like being able to say, "Oh, this robot can do better than me," no way, no way. So I have to assume it's even slower for like the people that you're talking to, and like if you were saying like, let's put a chat bot on the website, you probably like, or like inviting the devil into their house or something like that, right? So I have to assume there's even more interesting conversations happening on your end with that.
That's absolutely true, and I think, like, the first resistance to change is denial. Like,
Yeah,
we were moved to Dubai recently, and when you got kids, the first thing the kids is like, "No, you're not. No, you're not going to do that." And then when you do, "Oh my gosh, are you?" That's how that goes, and I think that's put on steroids when it becomes these world changing moving objects
yep,
like artificial intelligence, that people are like, are you telling me you're going to come for my job? And whereas I look at it like, oh man, you can make my job easier. It's just who you ask. It's just how optimistic people are about things. Much of it is down to, people who have jobs versus people who are entrepreneurs. We think very differently. That's okay. Job people are not necessarily risk takers, and that's why they are able to build really strong, infrastructurally sound organizations. Entrepreneurs are risk takers, and when you
absolutely.
see something like that, you're like, oh man, this is a wonderful risk to take, because every risk you take, you almost feel there's no risk because you're going to get feedback that's going to allow you to cheat the game and understand how it works faster than everybody else. So it's like,
100%.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're 100%. You got to have a little bit of risk to get that reward. So,
Yeah,
are
yeah.
you guys primarily running on Google and Meta still, or have you like is LinkedIn, or is there a spot for like TikTok or anything like that, or what are you guys working on?
Kyle, come on, man. Have you ever cracked LinkedIn? Tell me. I've never cracked it. I'm not gonna lie. I've never cracked it. I've never
I,
cracked it.
I've cracked it in terms of like white paper downloads. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
Like,
exactly.
yes, like you can get them in the ecosystem type of thing, but like in
Yeah,
terms of like getting a student enrolled or something like that, is you definitely need to have a lot more follow up.
yeah. Direct response, no chance. Like
Yeah,
you're talking about really low touch point into the funnel in some way. So yeah, LinkedIn has always been this misnomer that we've always been trying to figure out, never really figured it out. I felt like it's a branding play in many ways, and at best downloadables, but I think even the downloadables, they're pretty expensive for what they are, you know.
Sure.
TikTok is so interesting and exciting, you know, because you got to do it right. And it's like the kind of, all right, you've got world-class content creators. TikTok is the platform of world-class content creators. That's how I see
100%.
it. And you, with your boring content, going over there talking about monolithic, boring things, you've got to make sure you're talking about something interesting, and you got to deliver it in an interesting way. So it's like, do you hire actors? Do you yourself and certain people in your team just become good at just sitting on camera and just chatting on camera all the time? I think that's the most effective way. I don't think it's as effective as hiring actors because I mean, I don't think it's effective hiring actors because it's hard to sustain, and it can get really expensive based on the returns that you're getting. So, but then you've got AI. Do you use Veil and do you use Nano Banana and do you try and come up with, okay, we can have some really strong AI avatars. Use something like Hedro or HeyGen and put together some really strong avatars and just go that route. Cartoon avatars tend to be better in that sense. People don't like to be tricked with human-looking avatars. But even that comes with a content distribution challenge. How much
Sure.
content can you distribute? You know, for OPMs, Kyle, you're working with one university, you're working with tons. And
Yeah.
tons of universities have tons of programs, and each program deserves a full quality marketing cycle. Can you do all of that for all of this stuff? It's not very easy. So
Definitely not.
yeah, and these are the little nuances that people don't understand with why aren't you just doing all of this stuff? And you're like, you don't understand. You can publish one video campaign, two or three for two or three different programs. It works with two. It works 2 weeks, 3 weeks, for a month. Is working consistently, and then it stops working on one. Stopped working on the other one 2 weeks ago. Still working on the third one, and you're like, okay, do you just leave it? Do you repurpose it? Do you change the audience? Do you test new stuff? And if I'm shifting my attention this way, my attention can't be on this way. That's where I think AI changes the game because
Yeah.
it can now operate all of that. So, but you got to build it. You got to build the actual foundations that make that work, and it's very difficult. It feels like a Mission Impossible type deal sometimes.
Oh, the
Where
list just keeps growing and growing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
it
so
is.
and with that in mind, how do you decide that, like, okay, this is the next thing I'm going to automate, whether it's an entire process or just like a piece of a process? Do you have, is it by demand? Like, clients keep on mentioning this, or are you guys measuring hours? The team, spent 10 hours on XYZ last week, so let's get that automated. How do you decide what to do next?
It's a brilliant question, man. I tend to decide based on having the foundational functional purpose of the division itself. So, okay, we're a demand generation division. We've got to generate demand. Cool. How do we do that? We do that by engaging with people with strong downloadable content, with various different hooks, with an offer that's compelling. We do all of these things. We build these different types of units to be for people to be able to engage with. We capture. We've got to capture. We've got to have mechanisms on where we capture, which means we've got to do a lot of retargeting. We've got to do certain direct response marketing that's really in the capture area, and then we got to nurture. We got to make sure those people are going through and they're going through with a high level of interest. So by the time they raise their hand and say, "I want a sales team person to call me," or if the salesperson calls them, it's welcomed. Now, inside of all of that mesh is lots of different specific routines that need to be done. For example, SEO, right? What do you do? You've got nine clients times five programs. That's not the case for us, maybe more sometimes, but let's say you got nine times clients times five programs, you got 45 programs.
Yeah.
You group the programs together. So you say, hey, anything that's kind of technology, that means cybersecurity, AI, whatever, you got a message to market mismatch. Person that's looking for AI lands on a page and you talk about cybersecurity and AI and technology, whoever's just talking about AI, they're going to get the engagement. You're not going to get that engagement. So looking at that, it's like, okay, well, you got two problems here. You got your landing page development to be able to develop a really strong message to market match. Can you create the scale to where you can give each program its due message to market fit? Or do you forego that, group the programs and say, okay, let's use SEO. Let's invest in some SEO to create really, really strong domain authority to try and generate as much traffic to be able to reduce the cost that it's going to cost me in being a little bit more average in my marketing efforts. Because I know if I'm going to have a market message to market mismatch, I'm going to be paying probably $30, $40, $50 more for that lead because I'm just going to get a lower quality score or I'm going to get a lower click-through rate. Let's say you go the SEO route. You now got to do the SEO route for all these different programs, all these different brands. Do you hire someone? Gets pricey because that person wants to work on just one. Now you can. So now you're like, okay, I'm gonna go SEO bot.ai. There's a guy I've been following for a while, Paul something. I think his name is good. Check it out when you get a chance. Built a really strong tool that pretty much does all of your SEO distribution. You know what I mean? So now you can pretty much, it will analyze your entire site. It will come up with really strong articles. I think it uses GPT-5. GPT-5 is fantastic with being able to interpret what things to write and coming up with the articles. You get through a 3,000 word article. It's a good agent off the shelf, not a thing that's worth building. You're building yourself. Gives you maybe 20 articles a month for I think $99 a month per site, or I think you can get $50 a month for 9 articles a month per site. I just look at the numbers and I say, okay, per site, that's really per brand for us. You can argue 9 brands or 7 brands, 7 times $99 a month, $700. Hey, it will cost me an SEO person $5,000 a month, $6,000 a month, $7,000 a month. Maths makes sense. I can get way more scale. That's the route I'm going with. There are growing pains in being able to do that, but that's the route. You know what I mean? That's literally perfect. That's literally how I would assess it. That's how I currently assess it and try and look at what I'm trying to optimize, what I'm trying to automate, and what I'm trying to put a team member in, what kind of Ferrari I'm trying to, or F1 car I'm trying to put a team member in so they can just move faster.
That's very cool. Very cool. And I mean, to your point, if you can justify it via dollars, then there's really no other justification needed, right? So that's awesome. I wanted to ask also about, you mentioned how you're using GPTs a little bit for creative and image creation.
Yeah.
Have you seen success? Are you using that for video and everything like that? Is it more animated type of stuff? I'm curious because I've actually we use it for some of our, images that we post on like LinkedIn and things like that. And it's sufficient. It works for sure. But obviously when you get more complicated and or have stricter brand guidelines, like from a university or something like that, I'm curious if you've been able to get it to function for you for the most part.
We are. I think we've got, so we're using GPT-5 on a particular campaign for a spin-off product we've got called Bisk Amplified. And it's weird. I saw on Instagram once, when GPT-4 images came out, like that groundbreaking one that came out that changed everything and made all the images look super clean, kind of with Sora. I was like, wow, this is crazy. And one time I was on Instagram and I saw a really cool post where it was like that cartoonized format and people were just kind of almost like a comic book, almost like a comic strip. They were just having like a conversation talking about the problems of a particular product area, and you just flick through and it's just like a comic book flicking through and it's telling a fantastic story. And I said to my social media girl, I was like, we've got to do this. This would be so good. And so she decided to go down the prompt engineering route. She's been prompting all of that entirely. And now we've got a whole kind of a whole campaign on LinkedIn that's kind of following that same format, where it's kind of like this really cool little comic strip, and we repurpose it on LinkedIn, on Twitter, no, LinkedIn, on Instagram, I think on Facebook as well, and it gets really good engagement. You know what I mean? And so we do find like it's just finding the thing that ensures you're not trying to trick people. I think human beings, we're emotional creatures, so there is like an immediate expectation and an immediate reaction with the way some information is being presented. If I'm seeing something and it looks human, I initially think, huh, wait, no,
Right.
and you feel like you're being kind of tricked. Now, if you're in our space like you and me, you see that you ain't got a problem with it because you know it's AI and you can kind of appreciate it. Whereas a person that doesn't think that way doesn't appreciate it that way. And
Yeah.
so I think in those instances, you've got to lean into a cartoonized format because in cartoonized format, everyone knows you're not trying to trick anybody. It is kind of right within line. It makes sense that it is AI and it's actually something that's familiar enough for people to not have an attitude about. And I think it's just that it's trying to figure out how do you use it in a way that's going to enhance the experience versus taint it.
I love that. I forget what the exact numbers are today. I'm just going to make up a number, but it's
Okay.
estimated that the average person sees like 20,000 pieces of content a day, right? So
Wow.
I mean, again, I'm making a number, but it's an unnecessary like number, like you would never expect. The point that I'm trying to make is all of our content BS meters are so dialed in at this point that
Wow. It's
it takes a
true.
second to be like, oh, that is so inauthentic, or that is fake,
Yeah.
or that is trying to mislead me. Yeah, it is. You're right. It is instant, and we know right away. We've done it to ourselves. We've trained ourselves at this point, like our own custom GPT, to say like this is fake. So
Big
that's
time.
awesome. I
Big
love
time.
that. I love that. It's
Big time.
cool
And
when you can get something different, to work. Like you
oh
would never
yeah.
pick a cartoon, right, for higher education, but it's nice that could work for
It's
you.
different.
Yeah.
It's different, exactly. And I think I mean, have you seen this new Sora TikTok? I shouldn't even say new when I'm talking to these on these podcasts because for the most part, by the
Yeah.
time someone may listen to this, like, oh yeah, that was yesterday's news. But yeah,
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure what you're referring to.
okay, okay. I saw this by accident, serendipity the other day. Like, basically, there's a TikTok, there's a TikTok style, which is really a real style platform. I don't know if it's a platform or I don't know if it's just an experience inside of Sora, but basically, it operates just like TikTok, and all of the content, Kyle, is AI slop. So it's all just AI generated, and we're talking about anything and everything like Elon Musk walking and messing around in a conversation with Trump or um, uh, Sam Altman saying this or that or people who are familiar faces in the celebrity or in the just well-known content space are getting their likeness and everything completely used to do all of this crazy things like jumping off a building, riding crocodiles. It's nuts. You should have a
Wild.
look if when you get that because the AI is just doing all the interpretation itself and just coming up with whatever skits it wants to come up with. I don't even think anybody's actually prompting it into it, but I think it's OpenAI's demonstration of the creativity stage right now.
That is
Wow,
wild. I'm definitely gonna have
GPT.
to look that up.
Yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Please check it out. It's nuts. It's nuts.
All right, I gotta make a note. I don't want to forget that.
That's cool.
Cool. So I do want to jump into kind of a looking ahead part, and I know this is always such a tough question to answer or
Yeah.
to take a guess, but I'm curious if like kind of if you have any guesses for where you think AI is going to go in general, or where it's going to go from a automation standpoint or a marketing standpoint, and anything that you kind of see coming on the horizon.
Okay, I think there's an apocalyptic view, but I don't have the negative. Oops, sorry, my camera. Let me just fix my camera, my friend. Um, there's an
Right.
apocalyptic view of AI right now.
Yep.
I don't share the negative side of the apocalyptic view, but it's apocalyptic view all the same. And that is, I can't see a world right now, Kyle, especially in the West, where it's massive, massive adoption. We're no longer a heavy service culture in the West. We still serve, but being here now in Dubai, I'm seeing a major service culture where you can get a job and probably have that job for 5 years and 6 years and 10 years working in a restaurant, and the restaurant's not going anywhere. right?
Yeah.
Just because there's so many people coming in and out for you to continue serving them. That's not the same in a normal area that's not super premium in the United States. That business might be out of business in 2 or 3 years, or the person may have moved on and sold it, and that person may have it's just not the same. So I think given in the West where we're not heavily relying on services anymore, like the way we kind of were, I think where AI adoption is massive, I can't see a world where you don't have most of the types of jobs that you see today. It just doesn't make sense. And I think of it in the sense that, well, look at the sweet spot of where we sit. I can prompt a robot right now to do something, and or customize a framework or or a set of parameters for it to follow. So I've still got use, and I need to be
Yeah.
in that loop in some ways to get that robot to do that thing over there, and to get that robot to work with this one. These two separately working together, I can still have an excuse to exist and to add value. There's a time, and we're already moving to that time where they can go right past me and just communicate with each other. So it's like, well, okay, where do I continue finding the value, especially in a brain area? I think we're in the digital industry really is a brain industry. You're trying to figure out, how do I use my mind to make really effective change to be able to create
Sure.
lots of value. And I think with robots and with AI able to do what it does so much more effectively, and as it starts to communicate with other AI agents to be able to do those things more effectively, I don't see a world where there's a need for much of the types of operational processes that we have today. I think there's always going to be a world where there's a requirement of inspiration to 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 establish why to do something, because that's what we are. We're conscious beings that establish a reason to exist or a reason to do a thing. But once that reason is established, the doing of the thing, I don't know that they don't do that just so consistently better. You name a thing, I will argue that it does it better in the digital form. And so then the last piece is being in physical form. So actually physical robots, which are run or engineered or using GPT or whatever engines or OpenAI engine LLMs that they're going to be using. What about when they build, and when they build other robots, and when they build other cars or whatever else? I think you or me, if you had $1 billion or however many billion, that would be naturally where you're trying to get to. You're trying to make sure things just become more efficient, and which is the downside of being a system mind, because you can be a little bit cold and a bit
Yeah.
robotic in many ways. But we know the best system is a robotic system that makes no mistakes. If there's enough people in the world that think like that, which I think there is, you're naturally going to land on an outcome where AI does everything well and runs everything well. So human beings move into this space where we can just connect with each other a lot more and kind of do things that we can't do today. I think people have a negative view about this. I think that's too Skynet for me, too Terminator. I think there's no reason for AI to want to remove human beings. It doesn't make sense. It's not a logical thing to do. So they will far more want to re-engineer you and trick you to just be happy or do whatever you do, far more than you're likely to end up in this space where, yeah, they're trying to destroy you or something. I think that's weird. I think human beings will program robots to destroy human beings, but no,
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do that themselves.
I'm adopting your mindset. I like that. Just living in this utopia where I no longer have to like do my dishes or any of that kind of stuff. They're taking care of everything for me, and I'm just hanging out with the boys. I
I
like
just don't
that.
know. I don't know, Carl. I don't know. Only because that's what I would do, I suppose. And I
Sure.
think, are there people out there who think that way, to where they just want things to just be hyper efficient? Probably. And if that's the case, and it makes less mistakes, I think that's in some ways where you're going to end up. But I can see that being in 5, 10 years. The speed at which we've seen
Oh,
growth.
yeah. One of
Imagine
my
5 years
previous
from now.
guests, one of my previous guests answered the AI prompt saying that he thinks AI is exponential. and it's just going to get quicker and quicker. It's compounding on itself. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, awesome.
How about you?
Awesome. What's
I
that?
gotta ask you what you think. What about you?
You know, I agree with you wholeheartedly. There is a part of me that is a little pessimistic and negative,
Okay.
and I don't want to
Yeah.
say Skynetty, but like,
Yeah.
you know, we've proven that there are bad actors that do bad stuff, you know. So unless there's a way to kind of guardrail and prevent that from happening, I feel like there's always going to be someone trying to do that. So, you know,
Yeah.
the point of that is maybe they would be like, all right, we do need to take over to save them from themselves, type of thing, you know. So I don't know. I try to stay rosy and positive over here, but I couldn't agree with you more that it's, especially if you think about it from like a capitalistic mentality, when you
Yeah.
can put more efficiency in, which means more dollars and, you know, more returns and all that kind of stuff. Like it's kind of that immovable, well, not the immovable object, oh my God, I'm blanking right now. The unstoppable force. Geez, you know,
Unstoppable force. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's going to
Yeah.
keep coming.
Yeah. Agreed.
Um,
Agreed. Agreed.
awesome.
There we
Awesome.
go. There we go. So we agree. You're on the left side. I'm on the right side. So
We
there we go.
agree.
We agree. Make one big brain.
Exactly. All right, Ronaldo, we're at the 5 rapid fire question section of the podcast here. So going to jump in quick here. I know you've automated a lot of stuff, but if you could snap your fingers right now and have one kind of large pie in the sky thing automated, what would that be?
God, kids education
Interesting. Okay, I like that.
all day, all day, all day.
Very cool.
Private personal assistant that tailors completely to the child. Trying to do something like this at the moment. It's just, imagine a teacher that never judges you, a teacher that understands everything that you do, the way you think, everything, and can lean into all of your gifts. It's kids education.
It's a beautiful thought. I like that. What is harder, building out a fully automated system or crafting the perfect go-to-market strategy?
Fully automated system, because the perfect go-to-market strategy is boring.
Fair enough. I like that. I also don't believe in the concept of perfection, so it's just like,
No.
so yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I was going to ask what's the first thing you're going to do in Dubai, but what was the first thing that you did do in Dubai once you got settled in there?
Eat great food. God.
Is there anything? What's like a standard Dubai dish?
You know what? The thing is, everything is so international. So we love Chinese food. Love Chinese food. We've been living in Spain for a long time. Spanish, no disrespect to my Spanish brothers, hermanos, and brothers and sisters, but yeah, the food is so much blander. And it's a acquired taste. And yeah, we've really missed that dynamic taste buds that kind of suit us a bit better. So yeah,
awesome,
food.
amazing.
Food.
I forget. I'm. Are you a sports guy? Are you a footballer?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Not football. Football is in soccer football or football
Soccer, yes,
American?
yeah.
I'm not. My dad is. So when people
Okay.
ask me what team I support, I always say Manchester United, just in honor of my dad.
I was going to ask it.
Guy.
I was going to ask how we can convince you to like an MLS team, join an American team over here.
No. I appreciate football, but I don't really follow it. I still a basketball guy at heart, and basketball and paddle of recent, and martial arts guy. Love UFC. Love all of the mixed martial arts scene.
Who's your basketball team?
Basketball team. It's Steph. It's Steph. Even though they're losing, even though they've not done great, it's Golden State, man. The guy's too special. He's too unique.
Fun
Just
watching
love the way he
greatness.
plays. Yeah, we all ride greatness. We all do it. But geez, Steph is he's special.
Absolutely.
He's special. And he does it with a smirk the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, last one. What are your 3 most used emojis?
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
I use this as thank you. Most people say pray, maybe. I use this as thank you. And I think it's facepalm or shrug. Face
Okay.
palm
Yeah. Yeah.
or shrug. Yeah, which really is me. These are all me and my kind of semi-cocky ways.
Yeah, there you go. We're actually similar. I've got the face palm and the thumbs up, but I like to do the sunglasses, like the cool guy, you know.
There we go. There we go. It's still cocky though. Still
Yeah,
cocky
exactly. Yes.
because
Yeah.
you know you're just looking at what someone said like oh, flip it now. With an eye roll. All of them are a form of eye
Exactly.
rolling.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Incredible. All right. Well, Renaldo, I know we're at time here, but I wanted to just ask if is there anything that we didn't discuss that maybe you're really passionate that you wanted to share or a concept, whatever it may be, that's important to you?
No, always good to connect, Carl, man. Like, no, I think this is good. You know, we explored tons of stuff that I really find interesting. It's interesting being having the floor to just yap and yap and yap and yap. I haven't done this for so long. I find myself asking people questions more than I'm yapping all the time, even though I always find my way to doing so. So, yeah, it's been cool, man. It's been cool. I really enjoyed it.
Incredible. Yeah, it's been great to reconnect. I appreciate you coming in here and sharing all of your insights. Everybody can find you, Renaldo Edmondson, on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Bisk is bisk.com. Is there anything anywhere else that you connect that you want people to find you if they have questions or want to talk or anything?
You got biskamplify.com. I am working on something called AdX Engine and AdX Agent. So essentially a marketing team out of a box through something I actually put to Archer many years ago, and I was working
Nice.
with Eric on, which was a process and a system that now can be robotized, if you want to call it that. So
Cool.
yeah, I'll be working on that. I actually don't have a domain yet though. So yeah, for now,
Coming
follow me
soon.
on LinkedIn. Follow me on
Awesome.
LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, Renaldo, thanks again, man. We appreciate you joining the Brainiac Blueprint. If you don't mind, just look at the camera and say, "Stay brilliant, Brainiacs."
Stay brilliant, Brainiacs, forever.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
Carl, take it easy, man. Speak soon, my friend.
Cheers. Talk soon.